We are still holding off on the dollar because of this uncertainty in what we see in the current price action on the higher time frame. A brief pullback. We're still in a bullish trend. Let's see how the dollar plays out. We are in the middle of the week, and because of this price action, I'm going to hold off on the dollar and look at the other pairs, the minors, the cross pairs. Welcome to Tuesday analysis, technical Tuesday. It is the 7th of November. My name is Dima. Thank you for joining me. Hit the like button if you like these videos. Welcome back if you are with me once again, and welcome to anybody who is newcomer. This week we are focused on the minor pairs, as I was saying, and this is the short list that we've got. Long on pound yen, New Zealand yen, also on euro New Zealand, buy bias as well on pound Swiss, New Zealand CAD, Aussie New Zealand in both directions, and oil, crude oil, to the downside. And we're leaving the dollar alone because of this range. So let's see when we get that resumption to the upside. Let's begin, as always, looking at the calendar. And it is Tuesday. Typically, we have news happening Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Let's take a look here and see what we've got for the news this week. We've had the yen news, we've had the Aussie news today, the Swiss news as well, and the dollar. And tomorrow we are looking at New Zealand and pound, and also the dollar at the end, which is a speech. What do we have here? You can see that on our list we've got New Zealand pairs, yes. Pound pairs, yes, we do. And dollar pairs we are not looking at right now. The only one to bear in mind with the dollar is oil. So we'll just take a look at that at the end. Let's just go through the charts and the technicals. On Thursday, there's another dollar announcement there, but we've got euro as well, speech, and the euro will apply to the pound Swiss, if anything, seen as Swiss is somewhat tied to the euro. However, we've already had the Swiss news for the week, so it's a safer, so to speak, our higher probability type of scenario, because the news of volatility has already played out in theory. And usually it's much easier to read the charts after the news. Okay, and then on Friday, we'll get to Friday once we have Thursday's video, but we also have pound news again on Friday too. So that will obviously be relevant for pound yen and pound Swiss. Okay. Let's begin by looking through where we are right now in the markets and what we planned at the beginning. Okay. Here is the pound yen to start off with. So we looked at this bullish week and we wanted to continue to the upside. Let's have a look on the daily, and on the daily we're looking for that retracement, a better price, and continue higher. What do we see? Well, we didn't quite reach the level. If we look at the lower time frame, we kind of got stuck in this range. And now that means that we're still going to wait for these scenarios to play out, still have our invalidation point, and we have the place we'll be interested in engaging. And because of this range, because of this uncertain or unclear market, even though we had this pin bar, don't let it fool you, because we didn't get that better price. Therefore, we want a breakthrough and then continuing to the upside in the intended direction. We've already here, just this a bit clearer. Monday came and we already reached the first targets, so that is now redundant. We have the second target up here, first, second, and third targets up here, and we'll look to reach to that. Yeah, definitely want to get a better price before continuing on its way up. And once again, as I said, pound news, bearing that in mind. The yen news has already gone. Next one on the list was New Zealand yen. New Zealand yen, similar outlook with the weak yen, looking to take out this high, and of course looking for a better price to the low. Kind of a similar situation, similar price action a little bit. Yen is a bit more choppy. You can see pound yen, I should say, and New Zealand yen is more trendy here, or trending would be more accurate. Now, here's the idea, and the idea was to buy the better price, and so far we have reached into this level, into this first zone. We had this little pin bar and now very gently moving higher. It's not a very big candle, therefore do not be surprised, I would say, if we have a further drop to the downside. So from there, first target would be this high, and then this high, and then the next highs that we have, the obvious levels there. That is the New Zealand yen idea. We may get another drop. The New Zealand news is actually in the Asian session, which is overnight for most people, when the new day opens, just after the new day, and that is crossing over to tomorrow, Wednesday. Therefore, this makes it a low probability scenario, and after the news would be a little bit higher probability, and a more clear entry is likely to develop. So keep that in mind. I don't know what time zone you're in. You may be in Asia, in which case you may have the chance to watch it unfold live. And if not, trading London and New York, you will have a little bit more information, more candles to give you information and to help you make those decisions on this continuation buy. That is the New Zealand yen, still looking out for that. Here we've got Euro New Zealand, once again, New Zealand news, and it's the opposite here of New Zealand yen, because if we're looking at bullish New Zealand for New Zealand yen, and in this chart we are bearish, therefore in this chart we're saying weak New Zealand, which makes it the reverse or the opposite, and therefore the preference here, I should say, is that we should only look at the one that is highest probability and take only one. Otherwise, we take both and kind of could cancel each other if New Zealand plays around and we have a very clear direction from it. And yeah, one trade will cancel the other. So best choose the clear one. This is what we've got, what we outlined with this level. We didn't quite reach into that. We've had this retracement. We want to see a break of this high of the day, which we haven't yet had. The price broke through it. However, it's retracing and the day has not closed there, which means that the likelier scenario is that we move lower, and then after we move lower, we head to the expected direction. Let's see what happens. At the moment, this whole thing, let's draw it out. This whole thing, if you want to look at a lower time frame, now looks more like a range, and we don't want to trade ranges. We want to see a clear, cheaper price develop and then go from there. Okay, all for educational purposes, of course. Please do make your own decisions, manage your own risk. And these are just ideas from one perspective or one style of trading. Okay, that's Euro New Zealand. Let's move on to the next one, Pound Swiss. And on Pound Swiss, we were looking at the higher prices with this bullish momentum. So far, we're still in the middle of the retracement to the downside, and that is what we're having. We have reached into our level. Price is very, very slow at the moment. You can see very choppy, unclear, and what we want to see is, of course, a nice push to the upside from here, and a breakthrough structural levels, then pulling back to a better price and making use of that, the better price, the cheaper price, and then going ahead. Now we may drop lower. We have our invalidation point if we do, but otherwise looking for some kind of turnaround and then head higher. This invalidation would mean that if the market breaks through, that would not be the case and we're heading lower. And so far, there's no quite clear price action to show that rejection. So a little bit more patience. Again, this is pound Swiss, pound news to take into account. We may need to wait for that to factor that in. Okay, what's next? Let's go to New Zealand CAD. So here we are in New Zealand CAD. We have that bullish momentum. We looked at a retracement and then a move higher, which we are in this current zone right now with this first invalidation. And as you can see, looking on the 4-hour, here we are at this retracement, looking to go higher, which is what we were planning after all. And that was the case. Dropped at the beginning of the week, create this low, and likely to go higher again. New Zealand news tomorrow, or I should say just in the Asian session, and we may have to see what happens there before making a decision. But as you can see, we have had this price action developing, and that is what was expected, forecasted, analyzed, whichever word you like to use, and where the probability was. Okay, here's reference point for invalidation, of course, and we can expect that continuation higher. And we've got that set here. There is also a little bit of a more minor level here, if you could see that. But the bigger the level, the stronger it's going to be. However, this is for your reference point. This level here. Okay. That's the New Zealand CAD, again bullish. Let's move on to the next one, New Zealand, Aussie New Zealand, I should say. And then what do we look at? Well, we looked at this area that we always expected since a couple of weeks back, I think, or was it last week? But the market did not reach into it. Therefore, we're still waiting for it to come down. We had this level up here that the market rejected from. It did not close above. Therefore, the trade at the beginning of the week was a retracement and move further to the downside, which is indeed what we have had. Here's that retracement as we drew and analyzed. Clear retracement and then fall back down lower. So that's what we've got here, and that is what's developed. We've got that first target hit. Now we've got the next targets lower down to look at, and into the area we marked. I mean, we're just playing as the market is developing, heading into it, and that's what we see. Now we can move our invalidation down to the next high, which is this swing here. We've got the next structural area here. Now that we have broken this structure, see that? That's the broken one. So here's the next level. Therefore, we can get rid of this. We can just get rid of this and this, clean up the chart a little bit, and here we go from here. Well, again, if on the New Zealand news we do get a better price, this would be the idea. And something like this to head to the next highs. But once we get here, then we'll talk about it. However, for the moment, we have structural breaks to the downside. We've had this swing that has developed. We've just rejected the area we looked at, and we're heading to the downside as we looked at the beginning of the week. So we both got both a short and a long. However, there is a bit of distance from here to here, 100 pips. That is a lot for Aussie New Zealand because it's a slow mover, and we may not even reach there by the end of the week. Let's see. For now, we've got the short bias, and yeah, we're just planning our trade, trading our plan, and it is going, this one is going just as expected. So not much more to say there. As you can see, heading to the downside. Let's move on to the last one on the list. And yeah, the last one is US oil, and US oil based on crude oil based on the weekly chart. We had bearish week continuing on the bearishness. That was of course the bias. A look at our levels. Here was levels. Let's look on the 4 hour. As you can see, there was one here which we ran into. We did not breach the invalidation. All was well, created this swing, and then price dropped completely to the downside, totally dropping on its merry way. And that is that. So let's get rid of this, let's get rid of this, and we now have this area to look at. We have reached our targets to the left, and this one. The next extreme target is here to the downside. Let's look on the daily chart just to make it clearer. Here we are, this low here, and then the next low, obvious low there. Where do we go from here? Well, let's go back to the lower time frame. We've got our new validation swing, which is there, quite obvious to see. We have a level, and the next idea would be, if it hasn't been already clear for you, or if you haven't been with me, if you don't know how we do things, or how we look at the market. We've got obviously the move. Now we want to see a better price if we want to think about entering again. And once the better price comes, if it comes, then we will look to enter. Then we've got further swings expected, and yeah, you know, it goes on and on and on, right? I mean, until we reach our next targets. However, here you may expect another level. If you look to the left here, we may expect another level, but we see when we get there. That is the plan for crude oil. And another one that is just happening as expected, and this is what we planned, so we have no idea how it's going to play out, if it's going to play out, but we just go along with what was planned. Okay, that's a simple plan. Very, very bearish, looking to continue that drop to the downside. And that is it for this video. Once again, here we are back to the dollar where we started. And let's watch out for the news. Here we are, the New Zealand news on Asia. We got pound, lots of dollar news as well. Let's see how that affects the oil price, if it does. And yeah, pound is the one to watch for because we got more of it. Okay, that's it for Technical Tuesday. I will see you in a couple of days on Thursday. Thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you in a bit. Hope you have a good trading week. Bye for now.